Well, what an amazing session that was for the Bathurst 12-hour car qualifying, and something that we'll remember for a long time, I'm sure, and we will recap that a little bit later during the afternoon. But right now we turn our attention back to the HQ Holdens. They started our program today. Gemini's out there as well in race 2, and it is about to get underway. But welcoming back Bobby McGee and also David Amor, who are here for the commentary this afternoon. Bobby, first up, let's just do a quick recap on what happened this morning.
Yeah, well, it was a great win by Gary Bonwick, the multiple national champion, many times Queensland champion. Had a great battle for quite some time with David Kelleher, but Kelleher had a problem on the last lap in Caltech's chase. I believe it was an alternator problem. And Kelleher had a great race, but the surprise packet was John Carter in car number 7, the Starchet Hutch paint scheme car from the Gold Coast, and he done an absolute magnificent job for his time in motor racing. But Gary Bonwick was absolutely sensational. Here's some highlights coming up now. The start of the race, and the Gemini actually won the race. That is Chris Hinton from the Gold Coast in car 116. And he led for a little while, but then Gary Bonwick got the best of him. And look at this. This is the rollover, or let's say close to a rollover. How close can you get? That car has been repaired. And here's another battle where Truan goes off in car 71, off through the grass, back onto the track without interfering with any of the other drivers. Here's another desperate move. Yeah, thank you very kindly. Get out of me road, I'm coming through. But these cars rocking and rolling around. That's the number 13, Bruce French from Queensland, had a big one. Now here's a desperate move. 2 Queenslanders, both from the same town of Toowoomba. Brock Mitchell in 96. I think you'd call that a desperate, wouldn't you, Phil?
Yep, definitely.
Anyhow, no harm done. A couple of dints on the doors. And this is John Carter in car number 7 leading there through, Kelleher behind him. That is John Agostin, who here had the massive blow up when the number 6 Conrod let go and took the starter motor off. And of course that's absolutely cactus that engine, but I believe he has a spare engine. This is Bonwick in car 98, and a great win for Gary Bonwick once again.
Yeah, certainly was a great drive for him. For local interest, Terry Nightingale, car 88, they finished in 12th place, Buckley and Nightingale. Buckley will be starting this time, and they did have a problem with that car. Had the brakes actually locking partially on in the rear of the car toward the end of the race, so that made it a little more difficult for Tez with the finish of that one. Now, David, let's just look at the fact that we've got 13 cars that are starting from the rear of the grid, and the first of those is car number 41 starting from position 32, and that is John Agosta.
That is for sure. That's the Victorian there, John Agosta. You saw a little bit earlier there. Blew up an engine right near the end. David Kelleher, there's a fair few cars. If you have a look, there's 11 cars in total that starting rear of the grid with issues and problems.
One scratching amongst those. 91 is on the trailer on its way back to Rockhampton.
Yeah, a big pity. But the most important thing is for the Gemini side of the people, the Vauxhalls, car 174 is back in going again. So he's starting rear of the field. So fantastic.
All right, Bobby,
172, the rollover car's back too. He's prepared.
We've got them coming around, so you might just run through the grid as they're lining up for us.
Okay, pole position. This morning's winner of the 1 hour race driving solo was Gary Bonwick. Next to him will be the yellow and white Gemini of the Hinton boys, Chris and Dave. On the second row, first time that he's been in this position here at Bathurst is John Carter in car number 7. Next to him, David Kelleher. Next row, we go to another Victorian in car 99, Tony Maloney. Another Victorian, Warren Truan, car 71. Brett Osborne, 86, involved in the rollover this morning. Next to him is the fastest man on the track this morning, Kieran Pilkington, a New South Wales driver. 9th is Cameron and Baird, and Turner and Simpson from Queensland wrap out the top 10. Now, the winner will come from that position, but if you look back in the field to car 59, Jamie Finesse started rear of the field this morning and got past about 25 cars and then had a problem. Nickel Rangeley in car 172, the Gemini that rolled this morning, repaired, staying at the rear of the field. He'll pick up a few. Watch for John Agosta, position 32, a Blue HQ number 41. Their cars look to be coming through the field. I predict the winner will be Gary Bonwick.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what we're going to see here because he's been so strong in taking pole position for race 1 and then taking it out. But as Bobby's just said, John Agosta is going to be the car to watch. Car number 41 starting from position number 32. And David, he's certainly going to be motivated, isn't he?
Yes, he certainly will, and all the rest, because he won there a couple of years ago. John done extremely well, but Dave Kelleher there in 4th position, his teammate, keep an eye on him. There's plenty of Vics, there's Queenslanders and all the rest. So as we just can see there, the car 172, she looks pretty good at the moment, Bob.
Yeah, they've done a good job panel beating that car, starting from the rear of the field. Nick Rangi actually was the fastest driver in the Geminis here last year. So a very quick driver. Should be an interesting race. Let's hope they go right through, no stops, no red flags, and I wish them all a very safe journey. Not far away from a start.
Was a great race this morning, and it was affected by a safety car early, but then we got a clean run through the rest of the race. So here we go, cars side by side. Will it be the little Gemini getting away quickest? Car number 116 got the best of the start earlier today, but then was hauled in by Gary Bonwick. And here we go.
They're racing once again. I think the Gemini's got the jump on Gary Bonwick, and yes, it is. It is the Hinton car. Not sure who's in the car. I believe it is Chris. He leads Gary Bonwick. Then we go back to Kelleher. Johnny Carter started position 3 but is back to 4th position, so Kelleher got the best of him off the start. We watch him go through the first turn, and so far everyone's okay, no dust coming up, so they're all still using the asphalt, not the sand. But as of this morning, the Gemini led away, and then Gary Bonwick got the best, and it looks like it's going to be the same deal. Coming up the hill, yes, Bonwick goes past him in exactly the same position as this morning. Looks like Kelleher's going to try an outside around the Hinton car, but Hinton said, okay, you've got to go right out wide to get past me. Never happened, and Bonwick leads 2 wide up through there. Osmond's in the green car, number 86, but the 98 car of Gary Bonwick says, catch me if you can. Hinton trying very desperate to do that, and Johnny Carter sitting back there just in front of car number 99 of Mahoney from Victoria.
And David, great to see everybody get away clean, and we've got some great racing underway.
Yeah, it certainly is. I just saw there Jason Brooker in the 24 car there. He was around about midfield, 29th position. He had a very, very poor start, and by the time turn 1 he was last, so hopefully he's got that thing up and going now. Had a bit of an issue trying to get off, but as you can see, exactly like the race earlier this morning, it's just about duplicate. Gary Bonwick's pulled out, got past, and it'll be quite interesting to see how this strategy happens between lap 5 and lap 10 again, to see who's got to come in at what time, and hopefully these guys will work out a better way to save.
Yeah, but interesting to see how important that was at Griffins to hold the driver back in 3rd place there for Hinton, because if Hinton hadn't have managed to hold that car behind, is it going to play into it, Bobby? And 3rd place here, find it a bit harder to get up to Bonwick.
I'm amazed of how far the gap is now between 1st and 5th place. Like Johnny Carter's dropped right back after starting position 3rd. That's Kelleher on the screen now, and the very immaculate paint scheme on that car, which is a wrap. And then we can look behind him, there's Maloney and 99, and then Carter's back behind them, but they're really spread out. Now, I don't know how Johnny Carter can catch up the distance he did, and he's been terrorised by someone else at the moment. We have a look to see which car. That might be Osborne, I think it is, in car 86. He's making a desperate move down the inside of Johnny Carter, coming down to Caltex Chase, and Carter goes back 1 other place. So maybe his mind's still on his big drive this morning. It was a fantastic drive by John Carter. Is he going to take a couple of laps to dial himself in? Let's hope so. But here's the 2 Victorians. No, sorry, New South Wales driver is in 86. And Victorian in the number 99 car. Johnny Carter's car, who I mentioned, is the car with the Starsky and Hutch paintwork. Number 7, and on the bonnet is the big happy smile, because he's known to everyone in Queensland as Happy Days.
Now we're going to see John Agosta jumping up the board quite substantially.
That is Furness across the grass. Sorry, Phil.
32nd was the position car 41 started from. I can tell you he's well and truly inside our top 20 in 15th place. So he started 32nd. In 1 lap, he's up to 15th.
No slouch of a driver, I can assure you. And he told me the motor's not all that good, the one he's put in. It's just a spare motor he had there, and looks like it's doing the job pretty good. And here's a good battle going on now between car 86, 99 and number 7. The orange car is Maloney. He's got the side-by-side running with Johnny Carter. And we look to behind him. It's a black car. I think that would be Pilkington, I'd say. Kieran Pilkington, the fastest man on the track this morning in the black car. behind in the 4th place behind those cars, but they are back in 5th, 6th position. Out in front, Gary Bonwick doing it very nicely in 99. The Gemini still there, Kelleher still there. Now, the big mover, of course, is the Brett Osborne in car 86. 71 is Truan. But so far, good safe racing, good clean racing, no bumps, no scratches.
It certainly is. As you can see there, the Gemini is starting to catch up onto the back of the HQ, but the HQ's definitely got the cubes coming up the mountain and going down. The Gemini, the tight flip-flop over the top, is right on the back of Bonwick. We've got around about 18, 19 laps again, Bonwick, hopefully to have for the HQ Holdens. Kenda is very, very good sponsor of our tyres for the HQ Holdens with pedals and weight camshafts. Dale Yard, fantastic job once again to get the HQs up here, which is really, really good for our category.
Dale really passionate about getting the HQs to Bathurst each year. And of course, unfortunately this year, not as big a field as we normally see, but I think we put that down to the economy. Now let me tell you that the little Gemini, the further the race goes, the quicker it will go, because its brakes will hang out better than the HQs. And this is what happened this morning. Exactly, you think you're watching the same race once again, with Gary Bonwick leading the Hinton car, Kelleher back in 3rd position. So,
but a little bit warmer this afternoon than it was this morning. So what you're saying about the what you're saying about the Gemini could certainly come into play. And John Augusta has moved up another position, so he's in 14th place now. So very soon he might be looking at notching into our top 10, which is very impressive. So there we have the front runners on screen. You can see our top 5, 6, 7 there at the moment on Conrod Straight.
Very spread out.
At the moment, Bonwick is looking pretty good, and he certainly has pulled out again as he's made his way down Conrod Straight.
The thing that will come into play, Phil, will be, I reckon the tyres will get a bit squishy with this heat. So it all depends on what tyre pressures they started. That's Augusta at the back of that field, making a big run down there, but he's a very, very accomplished driver, is the John Augusta. The number 37 car, the yellow car we see on screen, is Ben Simpson from Queensland, another Gold Coast driver, side by side coming down into Murray's. Who's going to give away? No one's going to give away. Around the outside, too wide. Yes, they do. Both respected each other and gave each other a quit. There's Augusta, a little bit of a luff tap there, and said, here I am. And Johnny Augusta, how many positions he's picked up?
13th place now, so he's picked up 19 positions.
What a drive by car 41. And he's the one that had the big crash here at this track and had to go and buy a car out of a paddock off a farmer to get the front a couple of years ago. A little bit of dust comes up. The car with a dent in the front is Ben Simpson. As we look on the screen, car 37, the Brett Turner car from Queensland, was involved in that accident this morning. Had nowhere to go when he hit Nick Rangeley's 172 Gemini when it came in contact with Brett Osborne's car. But
we saw Rangeley started from the rear of the grid too. He's moved up into position 31 from position 35.
He'll pick up a few more before the race is over, let me assure you. Very quick driver, Nick Rangeley in the little Gemini. But some great racing going on there. The black car, the flat black car with the beautiful signage on it, thanks to Capulture Signs in Queensland, is Brett French, car 13. First time he's been to the track and putting in a great effort.
Certainly is, and if you just have a bit of a look there, Jamie Finesse is gone up 12 positions from the start, so that's absolutely brilliant for him, the 59 car, so keep an eye on him. But John Augusta's right over the back of this guy like a cheap leather suit, and mate, they've got a real good group of guys, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, really giving it to them.
There's a couple of other battles going on back in the field too, look, these cars here, but if you look at my sheet here, I've got 3 cars circled to watch that I thought would come through the field and pick up a lot of cars. John Augusta, Jamie Finesse and Nick Rangeley, and so they should.
Yeah, and Rangeley's picked up more than a dozen positions actually, because I didn't count all of the numbers in the grid, so he's come forward very nicely. Now car 88, that's the car that has local interest, because Terry Nightingale will be jumping into it when they make their pit stop. Buckley is running in 10th place. He was in 9th earlier, and he started in 12th, and we can tell you that Bonwick is probably going to end up with the quickest lap this time around. Last time it was a 3:02.93, and he was quickest for second timing line once again. So we'll update that time when he hits the bottom of the mountain.
Pilkington put in at 2:58 this morning.
Yeah.
That was a very, very quick time. And of course, the reason these cars are coming from the back of the field, Augusta was up running in the first 3 cars. I think he was running second when he blew the engine. Jamie Finesse Finesse has had a shocking run all weekend. He was a lot further up than position 38, and of course Nick Rangeley was in about position 10 when he rolled the little Gemini this morning. But they're the ones that are causing the action in the field, and we see another passing move. That looks like Bruce French, that distinctive green stripe down the bonnet, and he does pick up a couple of more cars behind him in the blue car. Oh, he's run wide. Every time I mention his name, he runs off the track. Don't mention him again, okay? Don't mention him again.
Yeah, car 13, no more mentions for you, Bobby. Now down to a 3:01.7 for Bonwick. That's his quickest lap of the race. Also doing a 3:01.9 was Hinton, so Hinton's not losing any speed there either. And this time round, we should see Augusta, I think, into our top 10. So Augusta, is he in? Yes, he's in 10th place in car 41. So he's come forward from position number 32.
This guy can drive. He is a very calculating driver, John Augusta. Lovely guy to speak to. And when he had the bad luck here a couple of years ago and they went and bought a car out of a paddock, it was unbelievable. Everyone jumped in and helped him, and that's what HQ Racing's all about.
He's streeting there. Car 41 driving off the screen, and behind him are 5 cars, but he's driven straight through them and past them.
If this is his just a spare dud engine, it's not bad.
Yeah.
There's Jamie Finesse in car 59. We look to see that is Rangeley right behind him now. 83 will be the Wadley-Schromberg car.
Yeah, so we saw it over on its roof this morning, car 172, and he's driven forward from the rear of the grid, position number 43, and he's now up in, I think, position number 25.
And
so
just taking Jamie Finesse, and Jamie Finesse has been having all sorts of problems all weekend. He's a lot quicker driver than showing on the track, but it's the car that's causing him the drama, not the driving ability. Side by side, here they come. Who's going to give away? Nobody. You just go side by side. Rangeley says, yeah, I'll hang around out here. And Jamie crosses across in front of him to get the nice exit out of that corner. We see the Wadley car move out of the road. Of course, Warren Wadley, one of the good guys, and driving with Brad Schromberg this weekend, but Warren owns the car. Great to see him back having a drive.
crazy to see how well that Gemini is going. We saw it driving up the concrete wall this morning as a hood ornament on one of the other cars, and here it is, very competitive and currently running around in position number 25. Just moved into 24th with that overtake.
Given Jamie Finesse a hell of a time. Jamie says, get away, I never want to see another Gemini again. But anyhow, Nick Rangeley has got the best of him, the Tweed Heads driver. So at the moment, 3 Queenslanders you're looking at on the screen. But where's Bonwick? Bonwick said, I'm gone. And let's tell you that the cars must come in any time after lap 5. How many have we done?
Yeah, so here's a replay of what happened. No, that's not earlier in the day. That's fairly new. But we will be going back to a shot at some stage of what happened to him this morning, car 172. And you'll be able to compare what that car looked like this morning. And you wouldn't have thought he'd be out here this afternoon. Here we go.
Okay, the Gemini cross gets the front guard of Osborne up on its side. Benny Simpson's in the yellow car, says, get out of me road. I rolled here myself last year. And but anyhow, Simpson kept going. Rangeley's repaired the car, and have a look at it going now. This
nearly goes better, having been on its side and nearly on its roof. It's going very well. Car 172.
The producer reckons the car's handling better now that it's been upside down, so we'll take his advice. And Nick Rangeley said, yeah, it is running all right.
Yeah, it just needed a bit of a wheel alignment on the front of the Kingswood.
But it shows you how economical it is to race with a car of this standard, the Geminis or the HQs. You can have quite a serious accident and be back for the next race a couple of hours later.
Augusta coming into the pits, so
this will be driver change because they come in after lap 5. How many laps have they done?
Yeah, well, that's completing. Well, they've only completed 4 laps, so it seems like it's early. But we've got a few cars in the pits there, so maybe it was lap 4 that was okay for that change.
Talk you through it. You get out of the car, or seatbelts off, stand next to the car, put your seatbelts back on if you are a one-man driver. Now he's all set up. They're waiting, shuts the door, window net hasn't been removed, and he can move. Hang on, the car has, okay, he's up and running again.
Now, David, he'd driven into the back of a lot of traffic in the top 10. He's taken the opportunity to take that stop there, and now he'll have some free space on the circuit.
Yeah, the problem is though, mate, he's come in one lap too early. Definitely one lap too early. The gap is between lap 5 and lap 10. Right, so he's got an issue and problem. His issue and problem is he's got to do another driver change. It's that simple. He's come in one lap too early. Someone has signalled him. He's come in. He's made a massive mistake. He's just lost his 42 seconds, 43 seconds in doing that stop, and away we go. We've got to have a look. Warren Truan, the 71 car, he started 6th, he's back to 8th. He's going slower at the moment. The weather outside is a hell of a lot hotter now than what it was this morning. There's a lot of guys that have changed engines, done some head gaskets, done some retuning of their cars to try and find a little bit more grunt. So with the hotter weather this afternoon, I'm really going to see a lot of changes through the midfield. Bonwick is a fantastic driver, like Bob said this morning. All he's got to do is just stay at the front of that other Gemini. The other guys behind him are going to rev it to 6,500 revs in HQ to try and catch up, and they'll have more issues, more problems.
So 2:58 was the quick time today, and this afternoon the 3:01.5 is about the best they can do.
They won't do any better than that, Phil. I don't think you'll see under 3 seconds this afternoon. The thing is, with Gary Bonwick, with his experience, having been in HQ racing since about 1996, I think, when I was happily give him number 99 for his car, his father's number, Kevy, who's here mechanicking for him this weekend. This guy, I reckon, would have dropped his tyre pressures because with the heat of the track, the tyres are going to build up. And I'd say Hinton's very experienced two brothers there together, Chris and Dave, they would have done the same. Some of the guys, the less experienced guys, most likely have not gone to the trouble of letting their tyres down. And these two guys, this is exactly the rerun of this morning's race with Gary Bonwick, and I'd say he will only drive as hard as he has to. As you were saying, he doesn't have to try and break the track record. In these conditions, you wouldn't be trying to break the track record. That's the way you'll break your car. You won't break the record. So this battle goes on. It's going to be interesting when they come in for their driver change. When Bonwick comes in, he's a one-man driver. Steps out of the car, takes the seat belts off, steps out, gets back in, where the Hintons are swapping. So Chris will then hand over to Dave. 71 on the screen behind Benny Simpson is Warren Truan. So you've got Victorian versus the Queenslander there. Simpson was very quick this morning. He got under the 3s. He was in the 59s. And I think there was 4 cars under 59 and 1 under 58 in Pilkington. The rest of them were in the 3s.
We've completed 5 laps now, so those stops can start to happen. And 2 cars coming into the pits at the moment to make those stops. Now, on the last lap, it looked like Hinton was going to have the quickest lap of the race. He's ended up with a 3:01.79, and Bonwick's done a 3:01.71. So he just missed out on that by a fraction of a second. Car 78 making the stop at the moment, David.
That's Novak.
Certainly is, and you can see that. And just going through the field and all the rest, there's 6 or 7 cars that have dropped back 2 or 3 positions, but there's still plenty of time. That's the Mansfield car there, the 56 car. He's certainly got that bogged, and that's coming out of Murray's corner, and he's got that thing absolutely bogged all the way down to the diff plug.
This will be a caution, I say a safety car situation here. He hasn't even turned. He's virtually gone straight ahead by the position of the car.
Now, this morning we had a car in the sand there, but it was right at the end of the race.
Yes, it's right at the end.
Now we're in a situation where we do have a safety car because they do need to get it out of the way, and we're 17 minutes into this race. It is 1 hour of the Mount Panorama circuit, and I can't remember, this morning was it 18, 19 laps?
About 18, I think it was.
Yeah, so
this is going to be real interesting, guys. As we know, the field's got to totally bunch up. The guys that have just come in now are in the best place. Bonwick's had that lead, all of a sudden he's lost that lead, and he's gone backwards, all the other guys have come forward. This will be real interesting.
Okay. Yeah, so 51 on the side of the road there.
Baxter's.
Yep, we've got the safety car out, so there are a couple of reasons why that safety car needs to be out there. But as you're just saying, David, it's going to get very interesting for the guys who have made the stop, because they should be at the front of the line once we're done with this safety car. So there could be 5 or 6 cars, maybe a few more, that will be in front of Bonwick by the time he makes his stop.
This morning the car that was in the sand was further up the track, Phil. Like that there's virtually in line as you turn in, and if someone's brakes locked up, they'd go straight into the side of that car.
Bonwick on screen at the moment, and we're watching, and it is obvious that he will be making his stop. And here he comes. He sort of fakes it as though he wasn't going to make the stop.
That was to try and outfox the Hinton boys, but they said, no, we're not going to fall for that. So in comes Gary Bonwick in the 98, the fastest water delivery man from Toowoomba in Queensland. The Hinton boys from Gold Coast in Queensland. Then we've got the Victorians of Kelleher and Maloney. We see them as they go past, and then we've got New South Wales driver is Osborne, Brent Osborne in the beautiful number 86,
Top
the green car.
Top 5 cars into the pits at the moment. There is going to be a race to get out, and we'll try and pick up as much of this as we can for you on screen, because this is going to be spectacular watching this and seeing if the order changes. At the moment, the order is 98, 116, 92, 99 and 86. Now, a couple of cars have gone through.
Pilkington and Carter's gone through, so that would nearly put Pilkington into a good spot, wouldn't it? With the speed he was doing this morning, Kieran Pilkington, very accomplished driver, been around for a while. Of course, the dude, Paul Morris, had a great battle with him here in 2008.
Yep, so Osborne, we're seeing the changes that's happening there. Hinton, the car is out, and they've picked up a position there. They've had a good win there, haven't they?
Massive win there for the 116 Gemini. Certainly, mate, he's a good probably 150 metres in front of Bonwick. But the interesting thing is with this, Bonwick's lost 17 seconds because of the safety car coming out. Now this issue, the guys that have done right there at the start are definitely in front. But
now he's also behind Kelleher. Yes, Kelleher got out faster.
Yeah, but he certainly is. So Bonwick definitely has to get his skates on this time. He's not in the position he was in race one. He's got a lot more to worry about now and to try and catch up with it. They're still trying to get this car out of the sand. The safety car will be there for at least another lap by the looks of it. We're just trying to wait and see. We can see that 3/4 of the field has come in now and doing their driver's change. Bonwick's definitely gone backwards, as you can see. The little Gemini has gone way forward. So once they all come back, but you've got to remember, Pilkington only done a fast lap on lap 14, and he was quick for those couple of laps later. So whoever that second driver is definitely a lot quicker.
You've got Lum behind the wheel of that car at the moment. So 15 and 7 are in 6th and 7th at the moment, and they haven't made their stop. So what is the strategy?
Skippy's about to join in. He could cause a bit of an upset.
Yeah, well, he will upset someone, mate, if he comes into it and have a bit of a look at it. But right at the moment, we're still trying to work out who's who at the zoo, literally, because we're not sure of who's going to be first once we get up and get going again when the safety car pulls out. You've got to remember, these cars have to stay behind each other. They can't overlap or do anything until the start-finish line, where we can see down here the 16 car is now out of the sand trap. We'll definitely need a bucket and spade. There'll be a lot of sand inside there, but just having a bit of a look at it, Kelleher, I reckon Kelleher is in a really good spot. You know, the 15 car hasn't come in, so as far as I know. So
why does that put them in a good spot, though? I can't see why they're not taking the stop now. They're going to have to make it.
No, they should. That's what I'm saying. They should have come in.
Kelleher should have been in. Carter should have been in. Maggleton should have been in. We've also got Brooker, who probably should have been in. Gray, Wadley. So all these guys, you're wondering why they didn't come in, because they're going to have to make a stop while everybody else is racing.
Exactly.
Unless they're backing for another safety car.
Well, let's hope not. But Osborne Transport there, the 86 car, you can see that. He's right up there. He's right behind Kelleher, plus a little Gemini. So there's only 3, maybe 4 cars. I'm just trying to wait and see. McGilton's right up there at the front. There's only 3 cars in front of these guys that haven't pitted. So as soon as they can come in, they will, because they'll go right to the back of the field.
Phil, do you like the shirt I'm wearing? Do you like the shirt my assistant Meg is wearing? These are from Gary Rogers Motorsport, who's got the big merchandise truck in the back of the
They do have a big truck in the back.
And they're having a big sellout, and all the gear's going to go to Gary Rogers Motorsport, starting at $5. So those cap shirts.
Okay, this is Mount Panorama, and we're wanting a shot of your shirt. So that's what we're looking for. There you go. So Bobby, spin it around.
Come here, Megsy. Give a look at that shirt. Have a look at this shirt, though.
This is a much better looking shirt than Bobby's shirt.
How's that for a pair of shirts? Straight from Gary Rogers Motorsport. Go and see Tubby and Cheryl down there. $5 they start.
So there you have it. Shirts modelled by Oh, dear.
Yeah, send me an invoice.
The interesting thing is that we've had Skippy both times. We had Skippy this morning and Skippy this afternoon. Normally up at Mount Panorama we have Skippies. There are usually a lot of them. So I would say from what we've seen this morning and this afternoon that there aren't too many fans of motorsport, kangaroo fans of
50
motorsport.
of them on the way to the Aloma winery last night on the way to our HQ function. They were everywhere.
Yep.
The cabbie had to drive at 2 kilometres an hour to get through them.
Yeah, thank goodness they haven't decided to go anywhere near the track today, because we certainly don't need them getting involved. So at the moment it's Wan Lum who is leading in car 15 without a stop. Then we have Carter in car 7.
He's coming in.
He's second place. Yeah, he's coming in this
They've got
time
his sign
round.
down there saying, come in, Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, interesting strategy,
This is an
because he's going to
interesting
go to
race.
the back of the line then.
This is going to be an interesting race from here on. How long to go?
So we've been running for 24 minutes. We've
Not
got
even
36
halfway.
minutes to run at Mount Panorama. Here we go with the restart.
And Lum Lum comes in.
And the first 4 of the first 7 cars
Leaves
are
Hinton.
coming in for their stop. This is amazing.
Now, but that's not Hinton's car, is it?
Yeah, that's Hinton out in front. So
Hinton and
Hinton
Kelleher
leads.
and Bonwick. So how good is Gary Bonwick? We're going to find out in a moment, but this guy is good, I can assure you. And Kelleher's taking it up to him. But out in front is the Hinton brothers, Little Gemini. 116, throws it into the corner, 92 Kelleher. Then we got the 98 car and the immaculate number 86 of Brest Osmond. Where's the rest of them? Where are they?
Well, we lost a heap of cars out of our top 10 at the time. David, they decided to make the stop. Doesn't seem to make much sense making it at this point in time.
Well, mate, they have to. They have to. They're just going to hope for a safety car. But if you have a look at this, Bonwick now up beside Kelleher, the 92 cars, they go up over the top. Bonwick's car, you can definitely see he's got a lot more grunt. And I reckon Bonwick he'll hit the front by the time we get back down to the start-finish line again, Bob. But when you have a look, mate, there's been a massive sleep. A lot of the guys haven't gone bumper to bumper on that restart.
I can't believe it. There's Johnny Agosta in 41, Benny Simpson there in 37. But Gary Bonwick, he's now, for the first time for a long time, behind the Gemini of the Hinton. So instead of looking at clean air, he is now looking at the back bumper bar of 116. And in comes the Goldfinch and Shane Bykoff, of course. Shane Bykoff around for a long while. Oh, the bonnet's up on car number 7, the Starsky and Hutch car. So this is the big chase on now. Bonwick chasing down the Hinton car, but Hinton's got quite a good battle. I don't think I'll get him this lap, to be totally honest with you. And Kelleher's dropped back a little bit. Osborne's been dropped off a little bit. Where they were nose to tail before, they're now spread out to about 10 car lengths between each of those top 4 cars. But Bonwick will be very quick down the straight, but whether he can catch up, this little Gemini is very nimble over the top. They throw them around. This series was started in Queensland by Barry Nixon Smith, who gave me a call a little while ago to see how things were going down here. And of course, they've been around for many years, the same as the HQs. And like the biggest field of a one-make series ever in Australia was held here in 1999 when 163 HQs come here for the national title.
Hinton was quickest, did his quickest time to the first timing line on that lap too. So Hinton certainly is looking to get a bit of a gap if he can on Bonwick. What I thought might have happened is we might have got Bonwick and Kelleher having a good dice, which would have allowed the Gemini to get away just a little bit, but that didn't happen.
Bonwick might be saving his car too. Like he might say, look, I know I'm quicker than this car. I can get him on Conrod Straight a little bit later. Still half an hour of racing to go. And I don't think Gary Bonwick's going to pull any desperate to try and get past the Hinton car. He'll sit back there and wait for the golden opportunity where he might make a little mistake. Otherwise, Gary Bonwick will try and force him into making a mistake. But under brakes, he's not going to pass him. He's not going to pass him under brakes. Look at this here. You'll see that Hinton will get away through this turn by good driving by both drivers.
Now, Rangelli is at the moment in 11th place, so that's a great effort by him. Hinton does end up with the quickest lap of the race at 3 minutes, 0.9833. So that's the time he's come up with. And we're just seeing the yellow Gemini on screen. So Rangelli has now up into 11th place, and he started from 43rd. So that's a phenomenal drive by him. And Terry Nightingale jumped into car 88 I think they were in 11th place at the time. He drove it up into 10th place. He's now in 9th place, and he has a couple of cars in front of him that he's having a look at. So good job by Terry Nightingale, and watch him as well. He'll be looking to try and get up into the top 5 if he can.
Can you give us the top 10 there, Phil, on the screen, please?
So top 10 as we have it at the moment: Hinton from Bonwick, Kelleher, then Osborne, Augusta, and we think, Augusta is going to be out of it because of what happened with that stop. Then Simpson, Truan, Maloney, Nightingale, Rangelli, who is now in the top 10, and then it's Jackson.
He'll get a good laugh out here calling Rangelli. It's Rangelli.
Rangelli, okay. Well, Rangelli's in 10th place at the moment, and he's got to be delighted with that because he started in 43rd, and his car was having all sorts of dramas this morning.
I've got him circled in a big way, don't you worry about that, as Joe Bianchi Peterson would say. And here's the crews looking on down there. Hey, give us a wave. There's the Queensland. We see the Mickey McLeod car, Beggs, sitting in the background there, so they've got a problem with the Coates Hire car. That's a shame. A couple of very good drivers out of Queensland, but I'd say they've been nearly barracking for Gary Bonwick now. That's our local champion up there. And there's Mickey McLeod, who's been around. G'day, Mick. How are you, mate? Standing there with the driving suit down, so their cars had a problem. But Gary Bonwick, he will, in my opinion, pick up Chris Hinton. But it's a great effort by the little Gemini.
Yeah, and it's the other Hinton who's driving at the moment.
Dave.
But it's a minute 16.1 to the first timing line for Hinton. So once again, he's going even quicker to the top of the mountain. And there you go, second timing line, a 2:02.89. So he's desperately trying to stay out in front. Last lap was the quickest of the race, a 3-minute .98. Yeah, just approaching it right now. We're about to hit 30 minutes.
That's the fastest time on the screen. I can't read who it is with the yellow.
That's Hinton.
Hinton. So the Gemini here, Bonwick still in chase, about 4 car lengths behind Dave Hinton, coming down past the Michelin sign, throws it up over the strip. Bonwick will not pick up any ground coming down here because the Gemini is so much better under brakes.
That's 30 minutes right now, so we're half race distance.
Halfway to go. Someone will be saying, gee, it's hot in here. Beautiful and cool up here.
It certainly is, and just have a look at that. We can see that Warren Truan actually took up 2 positions as that driver change. So he had a ripper of a driver change. Everyone settled down now. Up the hill. Yeah, that's Warren Truan.
Now, for those that don't know a lot about HQ Holdens, they have a 202 engine, 1 carburettor, the Strongbow, which is the original carburettor, 3-speed gearbox, floor change, a 355 non-limited slip diff. So very tricky through the corners. They are not fitted with air conditioning, but they tell me some of them have got 4x80 air, 4 windows down and 80 mile an hour.
Now, car 88 has moved forward 1 position, but what we've got to tell you is that with car 71 dropping down the board, car 172, the Gemini, just picked up 2 spots and is now in 8th place.
Well done.
Well, that's a great effort, isn't it? Oh yeah, what can you say? Proofs there. But here's this great battle going on that went on in the first race this morning. Only the positions are reversed. It is Hinton, Dave Hinton in front of Gary Bonwick. Of course, Dave Hinton driving with his brothers Chris Hinton. So both of them sharing this car as they do all endurance races.
He certainly pulled away from Bonwick.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Bonwick had a bit of an issue somewhere on one of the corners.
I think he keeps pulling enough up the mountain that he's got enough to give away down the mountain. Oh, that's how it's working out at the moment.
Bonwick's getting a bit hairy there. He's brought the dust up there. That's where Bruce French went off this morning the minute I mentioned his name. Where is Bruce French at car 13? Can you see that on the screen, Phil?
Car 13 looks like it might be a fair way down the order. Just need to wait for the screen to update. I think to pick it up. Back. So yeah, it looks like it.
Well, that's a shame. He was having a great run this morning. We couldn't get the smile off his face. And happy days in car number 7. What position is he in? He was a late comer in for a change.
Yeah, well, car 7's pretty much out of it because of that late stop. Car 13 in 36th place at the moment.
Oh, gee, bad luck for Bruce French.
In the pits, actually, at the moment.
Yeah, so John Augusta and all those guys that decided to come in on lap 5, that was the smart move. But here's that yellow Gemini 116, still in front of Gary Bonwick. Gary might be saving the car. In my opinion, I think he's smart enough to do that. He's not going to stretch it, because if he gets in front, he's got to drive like mad then to try and keep him away. He's not going to go under brakes here, Phil.
No, but it was looking like it was starting to get closer, and it's certainly something at the moment that Hinton is managing that gap very nicely. There's Kelleher on screen again. I'm sure we're going to see Hinton go with the fastest lap again this time around. He'll knock a few tenths off what he did last time, and he's managing to maintain that lead, which is a phenomenal drive from him. The screen updates, and it's a 3.4451, so he's knocked about half a second off Dave this time around.
Kelleher and Brett Osmond, having a great battle there. They've been together for quite some time. Osmond tries to dive up the inside to get a run into turn 1. Is he going to make it? I think he might. He's starting to pick up a little. The car's got a little bit more torque than Kelleher's. Is he going to do it? Let's have a look. Yes, he does. So underneath through turn 1 goes Brett Osmond in car 86, car 92, and they've got a slow-moving car there. Pick it up once again. Sorry, the cameras never went back on it, so we'll have to wait and catch up a little bit later on that one. There it is. 96 is
Mitchell.
Brooke
Mitchell, yes.
Brooke Mitchell from Toowoomba in Queensland. 86 is Osmond, so he's got the best of Kelleher. Then we look back and see the yellow car, number 37 of Benny Simpson, all the way from the Gold Coast. That was bad luck with car 91, the Iron Farmers car with Brett Holdsworth and Ian Mundell. 2 engines for the weekend. They said that's enough, so they've packed up, and now they'd be possibly 100 k's up the road on their way home.
Now, Rangelli, I mentioned, it got past Nightingale, so it was a change 8th and 9th, but Nightingale's corrected that. He's gone back into 8th place in front of him.
Doing a good job.
John Agosto's back up into 5th position now. He's past Simpson going into turn 2 there. So Agosta is coming. There is still enough time, but it'll be quite interesting. You know, like you said, Bomwick is just waiting.
Does Agosta tell the truth all the time? Because he told me it was only a spare dud engine.
Mate, it's old faithful. It's like you. It's been around that long, mate. We don't know how old it's been, but it's still going, and it's still going strong.
You're lucky I don't fight out of my weight division.
Now, every time past the timing lines, we're seeing Hinton be quickest. So he's done it, I think, the last 5 or 6 sectors. Once again, he's done it, and chances are he may be able to maintain his lead.
Yeah, but is this good strategy by Gary Bomwick by sitting behind him and pushing him, instead of being in the reverse position where Gary's trying to hold him out? So I think Gary can drive at the speed he has to in 2nd position, and then when the race starts to come towards the end, he can really... I reckon Gary's got a little bit left. That's my opinion. So we'll see in about another 26 minutes' time whether I'm right or wrong. Well, beautiful preparation of that car, that number 86 car of Brett Osmond. A credit to the guys. He had a big crash here last year. And the boys from the Bush Shoes tied up with Greg King, one of the real super nice guys we normally see in car number 49 from New South Wales. Had a big chat to Greg last night, and here's a move by Hinton's past. That is the Goldfinch Wyckoff car that moved out of the road, so I'd say that was definitely Brian Goldfinch in the world, because Mr. Wyckoff doesn't move out of too many people's road when he's serious.
And 5 minutes have been taken off the race. We hadn't picked that up yet. That's only just happened by the look of it. We're 36 minutes into the race, and they're now showing 18 minutes remaining. So we've had 5 minutes taken because the program was starting to run beyond the permitted times that we had to get other events underway. So we'll keep an eye on that as they head toward the finish in this one. Is Bomwick going to move forward and take first position in this race? At the moment, car 116 Hinton is certainly having a lot to say about that, and we know he's quick up the mount, we know he's quick across the mount, but we know that Bomwick has a lot of speed when it comes to Conrod Scott.
How do we know they haven't done a deal, these two guys? Like Gary Bomwick could have said to Hinton, I had all the TV coverage this morning when I led, you can have it this afternoon, but watch out for me in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, but this is going to be very interesting. The pit crews now have to tell the drivers they've lost 5 minutes, because let's face it, 5 minutes is almost 1 3/4 laps. So this will be quite interesting. That cuts us down to only 17, maybe 18 laps.
Oh, 69's got problems. That is my ex-car. That is the car that blew an engine this morning, a gearbox yesterday. They'll have to come and see me about getting the right engines in that. That is the Drisky.
28th he got up to. Bob, before that happens, mate. But we'll keep the cash for comment out of it, and we'll just talk about the racing, I think. But Gary Bonwick will keep going. It'll be quite interesting. You can see the Gemini pulls away as it comes up over the top through the cutting and all the rest, and Gary starts catching up. But the crews will have to tell everyone we've lost 5 minutes.
Yeah, 6 minutes actually.
So 6 minutes, so that's 2 laps. This is what's going to happen. So Bonwick now has to do something in the next 2 or 3 laps.
And what can Hinton do late in the race? Can he do an absolute pearler of a lap to the top of the circuit, across it as well, so that Bonwick isn't close enough to take advantage on Conrad
I'm
Straight?
starting to think different. Is Gary Bonwick's tyre starting to go? Because he's hitting the dirt in a couple of places, and you know the tyres may be in better condition on the lighter Gemini and hanging on a little bit better. So,
well, the Geminis have got a racing tyre on, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a Kenda tyre that's extremely good for the family.
Road tyre.
Extremely good for the HQ Holdens, but you know how good a HQ is, mate. You know how good Bonwick is as well. So let's just wait and see. I honestly reckon Bonwick will have to set him up in the next 2 or 3 laps because we've lost 6 minutes. This is going to make a massive change for everyone right through the field.
Do the pit crews know they've lost 6 minutes?
Well, hopefully the pit crew can hear us and understand it and realise...
Oh, he's right on him now. Now, there's Bonwick now. He was only Fox. I think he'd have to go around the outside here, but he's not going to do it. And Dave Hinton puts it right up over the strip. Bonwick right on his tail.
Look at that, right over to the left-hand side. I'm not giving you a sniff down the left-hand side. At
now the middle of the track. Well, he's in front. He can go where he likes.
No, he did a good job there. Certainly protected the line that he had. Now, Lynn Scott has gone through on Smallwood. That's car 9.
South
through
Australia.
on 105, and that's positions 9 and 10.
And
we can
Rod.
tell you that Bonwick's done the quickest lap of the race that time around, a 3-minute 4:002. So they're both very similar. They're fastest laps of the race.
Shot my idea down his tyres by getting a bit squishy. But there, Bonwick brings the dust up again. So up the hill. Let's see how the Gemini goes with the HQ Holden 202. Let me tell you, people, if you do not know, you know that a Gemini normally has a 4-speed gearbox. For here at Mount Panorama, they are allowed to run a 5-speed gearbox to try and equalise them out with the HQs, and they've done a pretty fair job because this is pretty close racing.
Unfortunately, Terry Nightingale at the moment on the track, I would think, because he's dropped down into 13th place in car 88, so he'll be a little bit dirty about that because he was running around in 8th place at the time.
So that's the what's the top 10 at the moment, Phil? Can you give us the whole top 10, please?
So we've got Hinton from Bonwick, Osborne, Kelleher, then Agosta, who we're not sure about what's going to happen with him in that place, then Simpson, Maloney, Rangeli, then Lynn Scott, Smallwood, and I'll mention Dawes, who's in 11th place at the moment, who may in fact come up into 10th.
That's the brother and sister team from Toowoomba in Queensland in the little Gemini. Rebecca Dawes drives with a brother, and she's one of the long-time lady competitors in the Gemini series in Queensland, but very shortly will be joined by another female in the Gemini and HQ series coming up. But there's Gary Bonwick doing a great job. Didn't bring the dirt up that time.
Yeah, look at the gap that's been pulled again, though. So there's a lot of insurance being grabbed each time across the top of the mountain by Hinton to give him an opportunity to be in front when they're heading down Conrad Straight.
Very cool driver, though, is Gary Bonwick. He would not be paying. Now the traffic's starting to come into play. Can the Gemini get away? What's going to happen? The HQ moved over, gave him room to get. No, Gary Bonwick's going to have to go around, so he's lost about 6 or 8 spots there. So Gary Bonwick balked a little bit by the slower HQ, coming through Forest Elbow, and still leading the race. Bonwick brings a little bit of dust up once again.
Mate, that's exactly what the Gemini needed, wasn't it? If you have a look at that now, that's about twice the gap to where he normally had. We've only got 12 and a half minutes left, so we've got four laps, you might as well say. And I reckon that has really come into the Gemini's hands at the moment.
Hinton looking to do another quickest lap of the race as well at this point in time to the second timing line at 2:01.64. So Hinton may well have the quickest lap this time around and take that back from Bonwick, who last time around had the quickest lap of this race.
Car number 7, the Johnny Carter car, is that still running or still in the pit?
34th place in the pits.
Yeah, no, they've had a problem, unfortunately. That's Ben Simpson, the yellow car to the left of the screen, making a move. This car owned by Brett Turner out of Brisbane. So Benny Simpson, very quick this morning, put in a 59. Makes a dive down the inside of Caltex Chase, but is he going to get past? Maloney is going to give him room. Is he? No, he's not. He said, you go right round. Maloney straight up over the ripple strip. But Benny Simpson had the momentum to keep going.
Down under 3 minutes, so a 2:59.62. That's the time that Hinton's just put in. And for local supporters, Terry Nightingale, unfortunately, in the pits in car 88. He's in 20th place at the moment and dropping down the board. But just repeating, Hinton with a 2:59.62, and his lead at the moment is 1.7 as a result of what we just saw. And here we go. Here's some action at the chase.
Yeah, where is the car? Oh, it's one of the Gemini. That's Smallwood, Brian Smallwood from Queensland. Of course, all the Geminis come from Queensland.
He was in 10th place, so he's conceded that.
I think he might have lost a couple there by doing a little bit of ploughing. Now let's have a look to see what happens. Oh, a little bit of a
Gemini and Gemini.
Oh, the brother and sister team of Dawes, I think that was, that they're tangled with.
Yep, certainly is, guys, and we're looking at the fastest car this morning's race, the Pickleton car there. It's only doing 3:09s, mate.
Different driver. Different driver.
Well, it's the same driver now. It's the second part of it. Yes, yes, I understand. So it's 8.5 seconds different. I saw those guys were tuning and changing that car a hell of a lot before this second race. So very interesting. Whatever they've done, they've engineered it to go backwards.
Now Hinton at the moment across the top of the mountain, and car number 116 looking very good.
Bigger gap.
And the gap that we've got is 2.2 seconds at the moment, and he'll be looking to get this out as far as he can. He's got the quickest lap of the race at 2:59.62. He's the only one under 3 minutes, and when we look at the times, fastest times for all of the drivers, only one driver has done better than a 3:01, apart from Hinton, who's done better than a 3, and that is Bonwick.
It takes a bit of beating when you've got two brothers that can drive exactly the same times.
Must be twins, are they?
Close to. Only a few years apart. But that's the biggest gap we've seen over the top of the mountain between the 116 Gemini of Hinton's and the Gary Bonwick number 98 HQ.
He just pulled it back by a couple of fractions of a second, so it's gone from 2.2 back to 2.
Now he's going to have to make a big move, because on the way the points are worked, I'm sure that if Hinton wins this race after running second this morning, the winner of this second race will be declared the winner for the weekend. So Gary Bonwick, now he's caught up again, so down the mountain he has made a big gap, like possibly 15 to 20 car lengths up on the Hinton car. But he will not get him under brakes. It's only going to be under power, and I'd say that if he's going to get him anywhere, it'll be coming into Caltex Chase, if he can get a draft down the mountain and then make the big move. And then he's got to hold him out, because there's a couple of good tight spots after he comes through Caltex Chase, and of course the last turn onto the main straight. 9
minutes to go. That's 3 laps, you might as well say. This will be very interesting. Kelleher and Augusta there now down into Caltex Chase, and the 37 car is definitely behind them. They are catching the 86 car, the Osborne Transport car, so that'll be quite interesting. Augusta, can he get the 86 car? Can he bring Keller along? Look at that. We've got 3 guys there for 4th, 5th and 6th, only probably 4 car lengths.
Well, Augusta's the big mover.
But does Augusta matter because of the early stop that he made?
Well, mate, we'll have to wait and see. We saw it, but did the guys upstairs see it? It'll be quite interesting.
There he goes into 4th place.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there could be a drama there, but he's driving very well, because he's got past Osborne and Kelleher. Now this gap, have a look at on the screen. You will see that Gary Bonwick is now starting to put the pressure onto Hinton. So maybe Gary Bonwick's been sitting back having a close look at where he's going to get a good crack at Dave Hinton, and it's been mentioned to me, I wonder how the tyres are going. So that's going to play a very important role. The Kenda tyres, of course, do stand up very well. They're only a normal road tyre, where the Geminis are running a race tyre. But so it's pretty good effort. But look at the distance that he gets away up around the tricky part of the track through those couple of tight bends. And the little Gemini pulls away by about 5 more, maybe 8 car lengths on Gary Bonwick. So nearly out of sight. So Bonwick's going to have to big run down the hill.
Bonwick's got an issue, guys. Bonwick has definitely got an issue. Bonwick just dropped right off, mate. He was 5, 6, 10, 12, 14 car lengths all of a sudden.
Well,
Bonwick's got a problem. That's not tyres. No, that's definitely not tyres. is Bonwick. Has Bonwick got a problem all of a sudden? We'll just have to wait and see. You can see there that Kelleher's trying to go up the inside of Tony Maloney, the 99 car. Goster now is right on the back of Brett Osmond's car, the transport car there. That'll be very, very interesting. We're trying to get another picture at the front. The Kenda tyre is doing magnificent. As you said, it's a high-weight tyre against this racing tyre the Gemini's have got. We're just trying to find out what's happened to Bonwick.
Well, at this stage, if they finish the way they are, the winner for the weekend will be the Gemini of Hinton and Hinton, because they run second to Bonwick in the first race this morning, and now they're out in front. We'll find out what Bonwick hasn't been on the screen for a little while.
It's only 2.8 seconds at the moment. So
there he is.
It must have just been a moment rather than having a major drama. Yep.
Oh, 24 car, that is the Booker car from Queens. He went around by himself, we're told. He just does a little bit of a witchy-woo. Thank you very much. I'll go this way. But can Gary Bonwick now show us why he is the Australian champion multiple times? I don't know how many HQ races this great little driver from Toowoomba in Queensland. And there's the Jason Brooker, number 24. Oh, not the right place to spin.
Certainly isn't, but we've got 2 laps to go by the looks of it.
Yeah, completed 15 this time around, and as you say, they'll get 2 more in.
This will be very, very interesting, guys. Bonwick, you know, caught right up to him, 2.2 in less than a second. All of a sudden, blew back out again. I love it.
We're going to tell very shortly, like in 1 lap time, how close Bonwick is to the Hinton car, whether he can then pull it off in the last lap. Gary Bonwick is a magic. Mr. Magic, we call him in HQs, but I think he's really got a battle on his hand with this great little number 116 Gemini.
Agosta's in front of the 86 car. Agosta, you know, he's driving extremely well. He's up in the 3rd position at the moment. We have to wait and see. Tony, 2 laps to go is all we'll get. Next time they'll go straight past the line. That'll be around about the, you know, 2 minutes something.
Yeah, 2:40 or so, and they'll have enough time for that final lap.
But a great effort by the Victorians here. John Agost has been a great competitor all weekend. The Maloneys and, of course, Kelleher, Truan, they're all there. The best of the New South Wales drivers was Kieran Pilkington, who put in the fastest time in this morning's race. And now the Queenslanders, of course, Gary Bonwick and Johnny Carter this morning. But at the moment, we've got about a lap and a half, lap and 3/4 to go. Can Gary Bonwick pick up the Gemini of the Hinton
Osborne,
brothers?
guys. Osborne's definitely got a problem. They've taken a fair bit of timing out of that car to try and keep it going. He is now dropping back through the field, the 86 car. He's definitely going slow. But talk about the 15 car, mate. He needs some BP Ultimate in that thing, because he is going extremely slow to what he done early this morning. So definitely issues, tuning problems. They've definitely changed something, and it hasn't got the mumbo it had.
Well, his quickest lap of the race was the last one, lap 15. Of this race, but like you say, nothing like the speed he exhibited this morning.
The thing we haven't,
8 seconds, Bob,
the thing we haven't mentioned is the heat out there. So some of these cars could be having a bit of overheating problems with. It must be about 58 degrees out there on the track. A replay of car 31. That is the Healy Spry car. Now, he had a shot at me yesterday about being parked, and guess what he's done?
He's hit the wall.
He parked it last year in the sand, and I had a crack at he should go into some driving lessons, and he's done the same thing this year. Yeah, well, you've got to have your hands on the wheel of steer cars, and there's Benny Simpson in the yellow car coming over the top, and you are right when we think that car 86, the Brett Osmond car, may have an issue. It could be tyres. I believe the tyres would be really at the end of their life now, but the heat of these cars, I'm sure the temp gauge will be up pretty high on them, but the little I do not know at the track temp, but I'd say about 312 degrees.
Certainly is. Osborne's back. Well, Osborne's back to 6th position now and everything else like that, but he's not going to give it up, because he knows, and the crew should know, there's only 2 laps to go.
3 minutes to go in the race, so that does mean when they come around this time, it will be on to the last lap, so they'll complete lap 16 and have lap 17 to run. And Hinton should be with us at the moment. Here he is, bottom of the track, so he's on to his last lap,
well,
and he has gapped him.
He won't catch. Gary Bonwick will not catch the Hinton car this weekend after winning the race one this morning. But I say Gary's car could be struggling with tyres at this stage.
Okay, so we know that Hinton is likely to take it out. Let's keep an eye on this, guys,
that is
because
Simpson
this is
and
a
Kelleher.
perler.
Simpson, Kelleher. Simpson in the yellow car, straight up the inside of Kelleher, and picks up another position. Osborne still hanging on there in the green, number 86 behind. Simpson comes down, turns, keeps them behind him on the main straight for the last time. We'll see car 37, 92 is Kelleher, 86 is Osborne, and then we go back to the car behind, which is a long way back, car 42, but is not in calculation. But very shortly on the screen, we will see the yellow Gemini of the Hinton brothers. Believe that's Dave Hinton behind the wheel. His brother Chris done a great job this morning, and Nick Rangeli goes past a little bit wide in the car that done the up and over this morning in 172. What position's he in now?
He's in 8th place. He's been there for about the last 7 or 8 laps.
Started position 43, Nick Rangeli, in the rollover car, as we will call it. So that has been a great drive. It hasn't dented his confidence by having that big crash this morning on the top. Pilkin goes past here, and that's Smallwood in the Gemini on his last lap too. But this is going to be a great win for the Hinton boys. Very dedicated motor racing. The family, the father drove here, Gary Hinton, many moons ago. And that's the car on screen, the Hinton Motorsport car from Tweed Heads, from the Gold Coast in Queensland. Gary Bonwick is a long way, not even in sight at the moment. And every other time we've looked at the screen, we've seen these cars in the same picture. We are not seeing it now.
5-second gap between first and second now, so that's definitely the reason why. The Gemini brothers have driven extremely well. Gary Bonwick, Agosta, Maloney, Kelleher, Simpson, Brett Osborne back into 7th position, Wrangler, Lescott and Dawes rounds out the top 10. So it's been a fairly hard, gruesome race in this heat this afternoon, guys.
This will be only provisional placings, because I think they will have a look at a couple of things that's happened in the race. But there's the car that should get the checkered flag. He is on his last lap, Dave Hinton in 1:16. Congratulations, guys. You've done a great job. I'm sure Motor Carb up there at the Gold Coast, where he uses dyno and that, and Damo, they'll be very excited about the win of this car. It went perfect this morning. Gary Bonwick is now in the picture, but is going to have to settle for 2nd position, which he doesn't do very often. So coming around, not far away, Hinton puts it up over the strip, comes down under the bridge, coming down, make his last turn, the left-hander, Murray's corner, onto the straight, and the checkered flag should be waiting for this great little Gemini. Performed faultlessly all weekend, hasn't done a thing wrong, drivers haven't put a foot wrong. Good work, boys, congratulations. Great win to the Hinton boys. Gary Bonwick comes in 98 in 2nd position, and we're going to have to wait a little while for 3rd.
Yep, so, and they've actually resolved this on the race track, which is good, because we think Agosta might come out of the mix anyway, and we've ended up with Maloney driving his way into 3rd place.
99 is Maloney, the orange car on screen now. Agosta back behind him in 4th position, provisional. Bit of a lock-up of pace there, lets it run a bit wide. Hey. Oh,
maybe he doesn't finish 3rd. They didn't resolve it.
Hey, mate, isn't it what you call the commentator's curse?
So we ended up with Agosta finishing in 3rd, but we think he may well come out of the mix. And as we saw them come across in the first place, Hinton from Bonwick is how we are believing they're going to finish as far as the podium goes for this weekend. So congratulations to both of those drivers. And Bobby, here we go with some of the other drivers finishing inside the top 10.
I noticed 86 was still going, so the Brett Osborne car must have had just a intermittent problem. Maybe he was getting tired. He's quite a big chap, Brett Osborne, from the boys from the Bush team, but done a great job. Cars going back into pit row now, where they will be weighed and go into Parc Ferme for checking. And let me tell you that the results are only provisional at the moment, and a great drive. I can't say how well the Hinton brothers drove, and Gary Bonwick. Shame that Johnny Carter didn't put in the same race he did this morning. Tony Maloney done a great job, so did David Kelleher, and the Victorians have done well.
Terry Nightingale finishing into 25th place, so he did get back out on track, which is fantastic. We've got some highlights coming, and then we'll recap the top 10.
Okay, the Gemini won the start. Bonwick back into 2nd place. Carter was in position 3, but he got relegated back to 4th through turn 1. As we see him go up the hill, it is the Gemini of Chris Hinton. There we see the French car, Bruce French car, doing a little bit of ploughing. And then we see the other car buried. That there held the race up for a little while when the safety car came out, had to be towed out by the big tractor. And over the top of the mountain, oh, that is Truan's car 71. He had a problem later and withdrew. Down around the outside goes Smallwood in the Gemini. That car went very well here last year, not so good. Truan parks the car out of the road, and 69 is the Andriski car from Queensland. Joe and his nephew, the two Geminis from Queensland, the doors and the Smallwood car come together, no major damage. Little incidents going on all through the field, but it was a great combination. And that is Jason Brooker in car 24, facing the wrong way. 31 buries it in the sand over here. He's done that before today. And here is the cars coming around to get the checkered flag. Of course, that is a great win on the screen, as we see it, of Chris Hinton and Dave Hinton in the number 116 Gemini. Gary Bonwick in for second. Provisionally third would be John Agosta. And, of course, Tony Maloney, the big... oh, I'm not going straight. I'm going to hit the fence. I'm not going to hit the fence. Oh, I nearly hit the fence.
That's the way it's been with the HQs here about Panorama.